Plug in that lava lamp and fire up your floppy disks. You've landed on the Gen X Files. While you do your best to keep your Tamagotchi alive, these guys will work to untangle the phone cords.
I'm going to have some fun tonight. I'm going to call the 7000 party line. Hope you're there.
Here's Jason Blank, Sean Knowles, and Greg Minka.
Gentlemen, I think it's, we're getting into the regular way of doing this now. We're going to try to do this every 2 weeks. And we've got the new video. I'm trying a different display this time, so all three of us are on screen all the time now instead of when we chat. So it's
that's a good idea.
Yeah, well, I
should do that.
Yeah, we'll mix it up a little bit so that people can see our beautiful mugs the whole time when they listen to us. So our video experiment has turned out pretty cool, but people are only watching for about 5 minutes, and then they're done. So
that's 5 minutes more than nothing.
Exactly, right? And I think we had 29 viewers. So hey, it's working. I like it. So I think it's gonna be fun. Let's do it again.
I think 3 of those are my kids. But...
Whatever, it's all good.
My mom, my wife, my son, my daughter. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
I think my wife prefers the Spotify method because she won't watch the video.
Oh yeah.
Well, she can have it playing and just doesn't have to look at it, right? See, that's the way. Exactly. So
she listens to it when she's walking the dog.
Well, hey, whatever. And it's still available on our Buzzsprout as well. So if people want to listen, you can still listen. But yeah, you can also watch us as we discuss all the worldly topics of Generation X.
The most important things there are.
No, exactly, right? Don't tell that to Generation Y or Generation Alpha or Generation Beta or the Millennials. Don't say that. Gen X is still the number one generation in the world.
100%.
Guaranteed. So today we're going to go a little bit, we're going to delve into some food stuff, Sean. So Sean, you are the one that brought up this food idea. So we're going to let you start. So where would you like to take us on your food journey through Generation X?
I think that this is something I discussed with my wife a couple of weeks ago. I remember when we were kids getting your lunch, and there was always that one kid who had a thermos, but instead of there being soup in there or something hot, it's a hot dog in boiling water. I don't know if you guys experienced that, but every school I went to, there's always one kid who had their parents put a hot dog in boiling water in the thermos, and just the smell when they open it up at lunchtime. I don't know if anyone does that anymore. But,
Wiener water soup.
That's right.
You can't.
There's always one kid. I hope it wasn't any of you guys. It's not a slight. It's just a weird thing that doesn't happen anymore. I don't think, but.
Well, and when we went to school, though, that was it. Like, we had the plastic lunch kit with the good old plastic thermos, and, you would have the grilled cheese with tomato soup. It would almost be like a staple that you'd always get soup with your meal. Like, I remember brown bagging it at, just before I graduated, and that was the life now. And now kids these days, they don't have the thermos in their lunch kit anymore. And they don't, some of them brown bag it still, but most of them don't have the cool lunch kits like we had when we were kids. Like, Greg, what kind of cool lunch kit did you have when you were growing up?
I had a Black Hole, the movie The Black Hole lunch kit, that I remember with Maximilian and Vincent on the box, and then I feel like I had a $6 Million Man one as well, and I actually lived very close to all three of my schools, so I was able to, for the most part, it's funny you mentioned hot dogs, so I was going to bring up hot dog day. I know we don't rehearse any of this, but the hot dog days that we used to have at in elementary school, and what that whole process was like. But I was actually fortunate enough to live close to all my schools, so I'd bike home for lunch, and where myself and my mom and my dad and my brother would all convey and have 22 minutes. It was to have our food, and then we'd all be gone. But it was lunchtime was always fun, and I do remember those kids with the thermos. That wasn't me.
No.
But
Good. I'm not saying they're weird. I'm just saying
No,
it didn't seem normal.
Nope.
Yeah.
Exactly. How about you, Sean? What was the lunch kit of choice for yourself?
Well, the only one I remember having, because after I moved to Alberta, I don't remember having a lunch kit because, like Greg, we lived like a block or two from the school. And it was like, I think it was in grade 3, we moved to Alberta. But when I lived in Victoria, the lunch kit I had was Return of the Jedi.
Oh, nice.
And I always credit that lunch kit for always knowing why I know the name of Jabba the Hutt's pet.
Salacious
Because
Crumb?
the name, yeah, Salacious
sorry.
Crumb.
Yeah.
No, 100%. But that's, but it was because there was something in my lunchbox that had his name, Salacious Crumb. And always because of that lunch kit, I remember his name, and no one else remembers his name. Because they don't say it in the movie.
No.
I've watched it, I don't even know how many times, even though people say that's a bad Star Wars movie, but I think it's a good Star Wars movie because it's fun. Everybody loves Ewoks.
Exactly.
They're like, well, there's two kinds of people in the world. They either say they love the Ewoks or pretend to not like them.
Yep.
It's just the same way. And then after that, in junior high, and through all my time living in Millet, we would go to my house at lunch and we'd all fry bologna sandwiches.
Fried
and
bologna.
I still, to this day, will do fried bologna sandwiches every once in a while when there's nobody around because they're delicious.
Well,
Especially when you hold down the middle and fry the center and get the crispy edges.
Oh, see, now that's a generational food right there. So there you go, and that's where we can go on from this. Like me, I didn't have one. I did have one of those cool lunch kits, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Flintstones. I think it was, but yeah, I wish I still had it because it's probably worth a lot of money now. But
probably I've seen them at the cons for a lot of money.
Yeah,
I think it's a shame that none of us had a He-Man or a She-Ra lunch kit.
I know I had a He-Man and She-Ra. I had He-Man for sure toys, but I didn't have the lunch kit. Yeah, no lunch kit. No, but the fried bologna sandwich. It's funny you brought that one up because that's like a generational food, right? Because like our generation, even our parents' generation, grew up on fried bologna, and then it's done. Like like even a bologna sandwich almost is gone. Yeah. Like when's the last time you had a bologna sandwich? Other than fried bologna.
Wants it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a giant hot dog sliced into little pieces. Exactly. That's what bologna is, and that's why it's amazing.
It is like, and to fry it too, like the crispiness. I agree. Like that is the way to do it. Now, with the fried bologna sandwich, do you top it, or is it just fried bologna and bread and that's it?
Bread and margarine.
Really? Because
so it melts on the bread when you put the hot bologna on. It's disgustingly awesome. I still do it to this day. It's the only one. It's the only sandwich I can always have without cheese. Everything else has to have cheese.
Well, I love my father to death, and I'm still lucky he's here. I still have him with me, and but I give him a bad time all the time because my dad was the guy that made our lunches when we were growing up as kids, and so he always get a little creative with lunch, and so he would make bologna sandwiches, but then he would put Miracle Whip, mustard, and relish on, and. Well, if you have that on a hot dog, that's all right, right? Mm-hmm. On a bologna sandwich, no. And so I tried to trade this sandwich off to my friends. Yeah, it's just bologna. What's that green stuff on? Well, it's got a little relish on it, but it's fine. Yeah, you can trade it. To this day, I still bug my dad about making us these bologna sandwiches. He's like, well, that's what we had. That's what we made that day.
My mom was right down the middle on that. Instead of a bologna sandwich, if we ran out of hot dog buns, she would cut 2 hot dogs into halves, and I would have a sandwich that has ketchup on both sides and margarine underneath the ketchup.
Yeah,
it was the weirdest tasting sandwich, but I loved it. And the last time she ever made it for me, we were going paintballing, and she insisted I take 2 of these, and I knew people would make fun of me, and they did.
Yeah. Or in lieu of that, a hot dog with bread when you have no more buns because the ratio is not correct, right? And then you'd have
but it still wraps around, right?
No, I know, I'm not judging. I know that's my dad too. My dad too was I'll have bread. I'll have bread with it, but
the bread was the staple too. Like I've seen those memes on social media all about that now. Is like we ate everything on, like, you didn't have to have a hamburger bun. You threw in like a homemade hamburger with some cheese and between two slices of bread, that was exactly what you needed. Or you took the hot dog and you wrapped it around a piece of bread, and it's perfect. So, the kids today, they just don't understand how, universal bread was.
Oh yeah. Did you guys ever have where you toast the bread, put margarine or butter on it, and then put cinnamon and sugar
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
on a piece of toast?
Yeah, right on. Yeah, absolutely.
That's delicious.
I still do it, actually. Every once in a while, I'll
Okay.
treat myself, yeah. And that was like
Cinnamon
the
spread.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and you can't get cinnamon spread anymore. That stuff was
Yeah, is that
so
what it's called?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gone. It's gone. I think the company that made it discontinued. Or if you go into like a European store, you might be able to find like a version of it.
Yeah. Oh, that stuff was like, it was killer. Like, that's a whole generation will not understand the deliciousness of the cinnamon spread, and that's all you needed. You didn't even have to put butter on it. You just put the cinnamon spread on it. It was perfect.
That's it. But I'm doing my part to spread our generational food though. My mom used to make me pigs in a blanket all the time,
Oh, yes.
and I introduce the kids to it. Now they love it, but it has to be the Pillsbury croissant rolls, not the hot dog rolls. Why would I put a hot dog in that? That makes no sense.
Exactly right.
And the little piece of American cheese, roll it up, throw it in the oven. Kids love it.
Delish. See, and for me, my generational one is occasionally I'll still crack a can of Zoodles. I know, right? just cause, and it's one of those flavors that that tinny flavor of pasta is just takes you right back, right? Or the other one,
Boyardee.
yeah, exactly, Chef Boyardee, or one I do make at home here quite often, wieners and beans. I still do. Every once in a while, wieners and beans. And it's funny because you tell people that you're having that, and they're like, why would you eat that still?
I don't call it wieners and beans. You guys remember the product? I call it weenie beanie.
Yeah, so I've heard that too. Yeah, weenie beanies.
It sounds a little derogatory, but it's not.
No, not
It's
at
just
all.
delicious food.
But
So what about quickly, if I may ask, what about breakfast? What was the breakfast? Since this is unrehearsed, what's the breakfast cereal of choice, or what was it for you guys?
cereal. Well, I'm a Life guy. I've been a Life guy. I still, to this day, will find a box of Life, and I love it.
Mikey, yep. Good.
But we used to have. This is terrible. My mom would never buy cereal. She would have her own Honey Nut Cheerios. Like those are hers. We don't touch those.
Yeah.
She would buy regular Cheerios or bran flakes for us.
Yeah.
And kids don't do this anymore. Thank God. They would take sugar, or we would take the sugar and put like 2 or 3 scoops of sugar on top, just so it's like a soupy, sugary mix in the bowl. I see Greg shaking his head because he's like, "This is exactly the way it was."
I feel like our parents read the same manual, section 4, chapter 2, paragraph 6. No sugar cereal till like you're 17.
Exactly.
Or till you're
my
an adult.
Love my parents, but my goodness, that we were cornflakes and Raisin Bran for the longest time, and when it was a special treat is when we would go camping. And you guys remember when you get those cereals in a box, the square boxes, right? And just add milk, right? Just add milk.
Yeah.
That was such a treat for us to go camping because we'd get our Fruit Loops, we'd get our Cap Crunch or whatever happened to be in there. Of course, there'd be like random boxes of cornflakes all over the camper because nobody eats them. Yeah, we get that all the time, right? We can get that at home. But that was, and I also remember. Of course, Sean, adding sugar for sure,
as much as possible.
Yeah.
Just keep pouring it in until your mother pulls your arm away.
Yeah.
And the other thing, just with cereal or breakfast, I remember on the couple times that we were fortunate enough to go away on vacation, go to Disneyland and Hawaii and the luxury of seeing the cereal aisle in the U.S. where you had your Boo Berry, your Count Chocula, Apple Jacks I think Apple Jacks are standard now in Canada, but
Cookie
that
Crunch.
was a whole other thing.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. Like, it's still to this day you go down to the U.S. and see the cereal aisle is completely different than what we get here. But one I didn't mention, I grew up on Alphabets. Alphabets was it was a staple in our house, and now you can't even get them. They don't even make them anymore. Alphabets and Honeycomb are both gone, which is wrong in so many ways. Yes. because yeah, that's the cereal we had as kids, and now to even get my daughter to eat cereal is impossible, right? So it's so funny how things have changed so much, especially food wise.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this earlier before we went and kind of were texting back and forth about the pop bottle
Yeah.
caps. There would always be prizes. You would open it up and you would flip over the insert and see if you won your prize.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was always like the fun part of shopping to look and see what you won, even if it was nothing. Like I remember when they had when Dick Tracy came out in the early '90s, they had a big thing with the bottle caps to find Dick Tracy or some of the thugs, and they'd be worth more each one. That was
really?
fun.
Well, see, I actually figured out the system because there was a
Oh, yeah?
system on the bottle caps.
You know what? Okay, sorry. Continue.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, so my aunt, she owned a restaurant south of Swift Current. She in Pontex, she owned a little bakery, and so one day I went in there and I was like, okay, how many lines were on that lid? And I found the number of lines, and I'm like, okay, this has got to be a winner. So I crack it. I got myself a black denim Coca-Cola jacket. I won.
wow.
That's the coolest win I ever did off of those bottle caps, and I couldn't believe it. I popped it, and I'm like, a jacket? No. And I still have the jacket. I wish I had it in. This is my storage room. I don't have it down here, but I still have that denim jacket. Although it fits a medium, and I don't fit a medium anymore. But but yeah, like those prizes, so the system was like three. If you had three lines, typically you get a free pop. And so I use that system until they stop making it. And I don't know why they don't do that now. You've got to enter these codes and all this other stuff. Like, just put it underneath the lid.
That's not fun.
Exactly. So, Greg,
It's
you had
the kid in the Pepsi Jet. That's why. That's exactly what it is.
That's it. You have a story, Greg, of course?
No, actually, well, kind of. I just remember that you mentioned it. I just remembered a couple of kids from school who had this system of always getting free pop when there was contests like that, and they would know. I never found out what it was, but I didn't realize the correlation or if there is one. But yeah, there was a couple kids that we knew that would be like, oh yeah, we go down. They go down to the local concession or store, and yeah, sure enough, whether it was Tahiti treat or I don't know exactly what it was, but anyways, yeah.
It's just
I
cool.
still look for Tahiti treat because you can find it, but it's Tahitian treat. Is it always been Tahitian treat?
No, it's changed its
we
name.
We talked about this before, I think.
Yeah,
Really?
it's Canada Dry made Tahiti treat back in the day. We used to enjoy it, of course, and now it's still out there. It's a specialty one that you really have to dig to find. But yes, it's crazy though because it's like pure. All it is just pure sugar. Like it's almost like Jolt. Like it's just wrong.
Jolt.
I won't apologize for it. I love it.
I
used
know.
to always talk to the Coke rep and ask him, when are you getting in Tahiti treat for the slush machines in town? Just text me and let me know when they're coming so I can get a Tahiti treat slush. That's it. That's all I want.
Well, for me, I used to love going down to the States because you'd get cherry Coke, right? And cherry Coke was my favorite.
Very good.
And now you can get it here regularly, which is awesome. Not really good for
Mine was
me.
Mr. Pibb.
Oh, Mr. Pibb, that's a good one too. And Tab, remember the good old Tab?
You got one?
Someone's trying to call me on my cell phone. And
I thought you were holding a tab underneath your desk.
yeah, exactly. That's it. That's it. No. No, Tab was one of my favorites. Or, one that a couple people really like, and this is kind of going off on a tangent like we normally do, but Fresca. I used to be a Fresca kid. Like, I used to enjoy it every once in a while. It's still out there. It's tougher to find now. But, yeah, I can't do it.
I just, sometimes I want pop, but I don't want the sugar because I'm old.
Yeah.
I can't drink pop anymore. Like I remember, and I hope this isn't a false memory. Maybe Greg can validate me here. When they used to have 3 liters of pop, it was only for a short period of time.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that.
And I think it was Coke, and they had 3 liters. It was only for a really short period of time, but it was like this massive bottle of pop. Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I-
It was
I just wanna
actually,
make
it
sure
was
that
an
there
Alberta thing too, because we didn't have it in Saskatchewan. I remember
Okay.
you could only get it in Alberta. You couldn't get it back home.
Huh.
Yeah. And it was like this super gigantic bottle of pop.
I need to look this up just in case it's not my own personal Mandela effect
Yeah,
or something. Where I was just small and it looked huge.
Yeah.
When you mentioned Tahiti treat, it reminds me of I had a ritual. Me and my best friend Troy and my brother, when we'd watch Saturday night's main event, WWF wrestling, we'd have Tahiti treat and a big bowl of hickory sticks. Do you remember? Well, remember that you can still get them, but that's where my memory goes with the Tahiti treat. Is
I
staying
swear
up
they don't
Saturday
taste
night
the
watching
same, though.
wrestling.
They
No,
don't taste the same.
yeah, and I can't remember the last time I had a can though, to be honest. But
Now Sean's going to get a Tahiti treat right now.
Well, no, I have so Doritos, and this is not a paid for advertisement. If they like to pay us, that'd be great.
That's great.
Yeah.
They have a fruit punch one, and it's actually pretty close to Tahiti treat.
is it?
Nice.
Yeah, it's actually fairly close. Most people will go after craft beer. I look for craft sodas
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm a sugar junkie apparently. So that's why I have to drink Fresca most of the time.
Well, I've never, I don't know if I told you guys this, but here in my basement, I have a 1970s Coke glass bottle vending machine.
Oh,
Wow.
It doesn't work right now. I need to get the compressor fixed, and you know how hard that it is to do unless you have a bunch of money and can send it someplace. But it did work, and so then I would find those craft type of bottles and stuff like that. And like Coke came out with a bunch of special flavors like raspberry and maple and peach, and it was perfect because it would go in my machine, and then you could throw in a nickel and you pull out the bottle, and it just took you right back. And it's funny when you said Tahiti treat and hickory sticks, I could taste it. Like when you just said that, I could taste exactly what you were talking about. And is that sad? I don't know. Maybe.
why would we? I mean, we're all nostalgic about things like the Hawkins cheesies, right?
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you just have to have some because they're just delicious.
Yeah.
But you can't eat one or two. You got to eat the whole bag.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just checking. Well, gentlemen, you know what? We've actually filled up quite a bit of our time already.
All right, well, okay. How about one round table before we finish up?
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Greg, your favorite discontinued fast food item from when you were a kid?
Ooh.
Ooh, come back to me.
Okay.
Jason.
Discontinued. You know what I really, what I remember is Burger King, when we were kids, had the 3 mini burgers. So you used to get a package of 3 mini burgers. So essentially they were sliders before sliders were cool. And I remember going to Burger King, and that was a treat for us because we didn't have one in Swift Current. So we went to Burger King in Medicine Hat, and that's what I was looking forward to, is having those little 3 sliders.
Nice.
Okay.
Sean?
Greg? Oh,
Okay. I miss the McDLT.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. The hot side hot, cold side cold. It's just when I started. And that was one of the first stations I learned. But absolutely, I love the sandwiches even before I started working there. And so yes, McDLT.
Mine's McDLT, and if you remember it, for a very short period of time, McDonald's had pizza.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. People still want the pizza.
Yeah.
It was. We went in. You go for a birthday party. Everyone could have pizza for like $5.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually missed that. Or in Millet, we had the Burger Baron growing
Yep,
up.
of course.
Or sorry, no,
Yeah.
Burger Barn, but not
Burger
Burger
Barn.
Baron.
Yeah.
And they had some awesome. They had like the Hawaiian burger, and that thing was amazing. I still go back there and I'll eat there every once in a while.
There you
It's
go.
delicious.
Well, gentlemen, you know what I'm going to allude to? So I've already got the idea for our next episode, and I'll let you guys plan it for the next couple weeks because we've alluded to it a lot. We're going to talk wrestling. We're going to go 100% wrestling. WWF, WWE now, but we're going to chat wrestling, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite characters in wrestling. Greg, I can see you're just so excited. I know you can just, you're like, oh my goodness, this is going to be great.
If we have to, I will.
Yeah.
All right. I will.
I do have a favorite wrestler, and I'll give you a hint, and it wasn't from WWE, and we'll talk about it next time. And I have a hint behind me on who it probably is.
Oh, excellent. Exactly, Greg's. You can see him peering in, trying to find it.
Okay, I'm just gonna. Can I stab in the dark, or is that
All
taking
right,
too
stab in
long?
the dark.
No, save it.
Ric
Save it,
Flair.
Greg. Save it. Save it. Yeah, save
Did I
it.
get it?
What'd you say?
Oh, never mind.
Yep.
I'll save it.
Save
I'll
it.
save
Yeah,
it.
save it for the next one. All right,
All right.
gentlemen. Excellent job as always. And I can't wait for our wrestling episode coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Good night.
All right, time to power down our old school computers and flip our CDs back into their cases. Thanks for listening to the Gen X Files. Hosted by Jason Blank, Sean Knowles, and Greg Minka. Production assistance from Scott Mitchell. Produced by Blankman Productions. Remember, be kind, rewind. Quick, rewind it! And keep rocking those aviators and Doc Martens.